the Bharata Varsha, it is our nation that we have lived and thrived for maybe very long years. It says, the history says 70,000 years, 65,000 years, people have started coming to this land. And ever since, there is huge amount of history. If you look at the history, I would like to start from telling a story about astronomers. There is a river in Kerala. That is the largest river, the biggest river in Kerala. You know the name of the river? It's the Bharatapuzha. Its name is Bharat. Puzha is river. And that is the longest and the biggest river of Kerala. And in the banks of that river, there were people who were astronomers, Sangrama, Madhava families, or a tradition of observers of the universe. And they looked at, in the banks of the river, they looked at the sky, they observed the sky, they catalogued all of this information, looking at the planets, the motion, the stars, and predicted the movement of stars and planets so accurately at that point. And not only that they did, they also created mathematics. That is known today, the Madhava school of mathematics, logics. And modern mathematics, it is not old mathematics. And some of that has been preserved, and some of that has been lost. And I believe some of the information that they talked at that moment could have been collected by the Jesuit priests that used to travel that region. And those information would have traveled to the Europe at some point in time. We have no proof about it. I also want to tell about another region in our country that was in Tamil Nadu. That region, in the region near to Madurai, that was a place where metallurgy flourished once. It was just 500, 600 years back. It was such a thriving metallurgy place in this country. They knew how to build swords of very powerful swords, very sharp swords, that the whole world came there to pick that steel and take it and build those swords, which the Europeans were waging wars there. The swords came from this country. The metallurgy of building steel from iron, that was known only to them in the whole world. And there were people in Uttar Pradesh area, and they know how to melt zinc out of ore, and no one else in this world knew how to take zinc out of the ore. And that was a very, very secret recipe at that moment. And you know, to collect zinc, because zinc is needed to mix with copper to make bronze and to make those ornaments and those stuff at that moment. And they came to collect zinc. And later, you know what happened? And that is a different story. And it is not that story alone. There were educational institutions, there were traditions where people were taught from generation to generation this technology, these methods. And because of that, we were the trading nation at that moment. And we were one of the biggest exporter of not just goods that is collected from forest. No, we were building systems, we were building technologies, we were building equipments, and we were exporting them. And the richness of this country attracted so many people. And all the trades were brought here. Diamonds, golds, and rich materials were collected in plenty in this country at that moment. And what happened later, you know, there were invasions after invasions. But much before the invasion, you must also talk about educational system. And they established an educational system in this country, in this whole of this world, places where the whole world was coming for education, universities, where the classical form of education that we talk today were not present. I must admit, there was no physics, there was no biology. Of course, there was mathematics, logic. Mathematics was taught in a different form, not the way you study mathematics today. It was more of tarka, more of logic. But of course, there were abstract mathematics that came much later. But there was also schools of astronomy, where not astrology, but I am talking about astronomy, where there is an observation of planets and then calculation which goes into details of how much is the distance between sun and earth, How much is the distance between moon and earth? What is the periodicity? How to calculate eclipses? How to calculate the positions of the stars? They were all catalogued, they were calculated in much better precision that was available at that moment, far better than many other places and other civilizations that existed in this country. But the mode of education at that moment was different because there was no computer, there was no computer, there was no internet, there was no written paper. Even paper was invented much later. The tradition of teaching was in a different way. It was more of poetic, because to memorize things, people were writing it in languages, maybe Sanskrit and many other languages. And it was written in the form of poem which need to be recited again and again and again to memorize from generation to generation. And the way it was catalogued was not perfect enough for us to preserve and talk about it in a manner that we can be proud of. Unfortunately, because of the invasion, much of that has been lost, much of that has been destroyed, much of that has been taken away. And it was not just taken away, we were deprived of learning it. We were deprived of keeping the tradition of metallurgy because all that who practiced metallurgy in Tamil Nadu were butchered, killed, so as to ensure that there is not even a single family who knew the technology when the Britishers were here. Because they were taking the technology from this country to somewhere else to create industrial revolution. The colleges and schools, in that classical way of using colleges and schools at that moment, were destroyed, burnt, taken away. And we became a poor nation over a period of time. And this is a history. And this is now well known. And we have to talk about a nation which talk about our traditions and our knowledge at some point in time. Why I should talk about it today? Because you will ask me, what is the significance of knowing all of this? Because for a nation, why you are today is more important and why who were 1,000 years back is not important for all of us, no? You think so? But if you do not look at it and understand something and take a message from that, you are not going to control what will happen for next 25 years, next 100 years, next 1,000 years. And this is important for all of us. To understand what type of challenges that face our societies, nations, in preserving their knowledge, in their preserving their traditions, in preserving their culture. Because it is always under attack. In various forms it will come. It will come as waves and waves and waves. But only that will reside, and that will be only able to prevent that waves to wash out everything. Because cultures have vanished. Not only our culture, there are many, many other cultures existed in the world. Many of them were taken out. And if you have to ever preserve, and if you think that it is important to preserve, and it is important to know that we were once great, that pride is important for us. And that knowledge is important for us to understand that we were no less than anyone in the world. We were and we are even now. And when we talk about we are, many people lose this confidence. Many people lose this courage to tell that we are one of the best in the world. How can we ever say that? People ask, what exactly you are doing to say that? How many Nobel Prizes came out of this country? We don't know that there are many Nobel Prizes that came out of it. Only C.V. Raman was there. And after that, you know about some of the Indian origin people who got Nobel Prizes. How much original innovations are happening in this country? People will ask. Are you contributing to the global economy through technology and science today? This is a question that we need to ask. And people will ask you how can you be very simply proud of? But when you speak about it, I can show you Chandrayaan 3. I can show you that today India is capable of going to moon and land on the moon when other nations are now finding it difficult today. I think that is our quality. That is our capability. And you are able to do it at extremely low cost. And I am not telling that it's a great accomplishment like the Americans went to moon and landed their man on the moon long back. What is that to do with that for a country like India today? That you will ask after so many years, what exactly you are doing? We are trying to re-establish ourselves. And this is very important. For a country like us, who have been trailing behind in technology for so many years, we are trying to take our place. We are trying to recover or rediscover ourselves in the places where we should have been. I think this is very important. The narrative is important, the message is important. And it is only not to create any confrontation or a fight with anyone. It is only to give confidence to ourselves that we can do more and we need to do more. Why we should do more? I think Hegdeji just mentioned about the Vishwaguru. I think this concept is very, very important. We want to become a Vishwaguru. And many people even sometimes ask what guru you are going to be, what you are going to teach. We are going to teach people how to live together peacefully. Is it not a good guru who will tell that we will all live together peacefully? If you tell people that it is something that I have something I am ready to give you, is it not a good guru who says that I have something that I can give you? We have given yoga to the world recently. And the whole world has taken it and made it themselves. They have made it their own, not India's. It is now the world owns the yoga. And we are going to have Ayurveda. We want to give you Ayurveda. The whole world is there. We need to conduct more research and make it as a global alternate medical system. It is something that we want to give you. And we want to give our better brains. I think, today, Indians are all across the globe. I think, they are there in the Silicon Valley. They are in CEOs of companies. They are leading big businesses across the world. And they are respected today. Because people coming from India has a heritage and capability that is unmatched. I think you have to start believing it. And when you start believing it, you can do great wonders. And not to simply talk about your old stories and then just be proud of, but we have to start working on things, what is important, for transition to take place, for new things to come. And this is also important. For that, we need to prepare the new generation. You have to tell them you need to be proud of your history, your heritage. You should also put your effort in a manner that suits our Indian ethos and Indian culture to be preserved. Not to adapt or copy anything from anywhere else. We know how to conduct ourselves. We know how to respect our elders. We know how to live in a family where elders are respected. Teachers are treated with great reverence. We know how gurus are treated. So when you educate young people with the cultural ethos of our society, I think we will build a great nation, and we will also contribute great people for building the greater and peaceful world. And I am very sure about it. And in the coming days, coming years, what is more important for India is to advance significantly in technology. I think there is no doubt about it. All of us know about it. Because as an economic superpower, we are today at the 5th position as far as the global economy is concerned. Recently, we have overtaken Germany also. And I believe that all of you wish that one day India want to be the number one country, is it not? We all want India to be a powerful country. Powerful for what? People will ask. Whether we are a wealthy country or we have a mighty army and navy and air force who is capable of attacking someone, taking over someone? Absolutely not. But all of this are important. I believe it is all important because it has a different purpose. But what we want to become powerful is to decide the future of the world. Because we want to be a nation where everyone in the world will aspire to come and live peacefully for progressing the whole world. Today India is 145 crore people. And soon, in another few years, maybe tens of years, we are going to become almost 160 crore. Maybe after that, it may not increase. We are going to come down afterwards. That's what the demographic says. But for 160 crore people, with the climate change happening, the issues of global warming and many other things, even providing food is going to be an issue. The healthcare is going to be an issue. The villages today are all aspiring to become cities in the coming days, and the demand for power is going to increase substantially. The requirement for a communication system is going to be very, very, very important because education needs to be spreading out much deeper and wider. And the infrastructure growth in this country has to be much, much more. The industrial production has to increase if our economy has to grow. And the challenges in front of our government is so huge. And this huge challenge can be handled only if we have capable people coming out of our educational institutions, not only in schools, but also in higher educations. We should also create industries, startups, companies, businesses which is capable of sustaining all of this ecosystem for long years. But today we have an advantage. The advantage is that our population, 145 crore people, very significant number of people are young people today compared to many other countries. The entire Europe is actually aging. They don't find young people anywhere for giving jobs. And this advantage is going to remain for next 25 years. After 25 years, things will change if you are not careful. We will also become aged country, and the challenges are going to be a different class of challenges. But at least for next 25 years, we are going to have a great advantage, even better than China. The demography is better than China. And that shows that there is a possibility if you train young people, align them with the vision of the government and the nation, prepare young people to take up the positions of the youth at this moment, I think we are going to be a great nation. For that, we need to have unity of thought that it is very important for a nation to grow, to become powerful, technologically powerful. And this technological powerful, again, I want to stress very, very important. And this is very important because the economy is so much connected with technology. The economy is connected with natural resources at some point in time. As if, like when you say, for a nation, the soldiers, number of soldiers, elephants, and horses were once a measure of the strength. But later now, countries with a lot of natural resources like petroleum became very, very rich country. But after some time, all these natural resources are going to vanish. The type of extraction that you can do will come down. The petroleum will give way to green hydrogen. Natural resources will vanish. What is going to keep the economy going up? And this is going to be only technology. And technology of various kinds, artificial intelligence, electronics, quantum mechanics, genomics, the biotechnology, and many, many other areas. We need to focus and concentrate and build capabilities in the coming years. And we need to be a leader of the world. And we can do that if you put effort in building institutions and people. And I am very sure organizations like many, many organizations that are working in this country, building this capability from the root. I think from the root is very important. And Rashtrotthana Vidya Kendra is the root where young people come in, learn from teachers, respect and understand the culture of this nation, and then build up a career and future. And I know all the parents and teachers are very energetic and enthusiastic for all those 800 people who have joined today. I think it is a great movement that has happened. I am very happy to witness this and happy to be present during this event at Udupi, and wish that all of you support and move with this organization to make this Rashtrotthana Vidya Kendra much bigger as the institution has dreamed about it, with all your support and blessing. Thank you so much. All the very best.